And hello there, all you stay tuners.
Hey, listen, fuck the Eagles. I hate the Eagles. Don't get me wrong here.
First quarter, keep it even. Second quarter, start running the fucking ball. Third quarter, take a power nap. Fourth quarter, oh shit, there's the rest of the game. Let's go.
Fuck it, I'm a diabetic. I will root for the team that will literally give me diabetes and death. Rooting for a team from Hershey is like a Catholic rooting for Satan. It doesn't make any sense.
This is Stay Tuned Sports, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here with our good buddy King.
And it's your boy King. How you doing?
I see already you're getting in football shape here as far as talking over me.
I see you're the same way there with your Eagles shirt there, and I jumped in a little bit early, but I'm excited. Yes. We're getting closer.
And
every day, it's a little closer, as Buddy Holly once said.
And not even just NFL, but also college football. You only got about two
college
weeks?
Football's even closer. College football is I think 2 weeks, about 2 weeks from now. Notre Dame's playing in Ireland against Navy, so that's going to be fun and interesting to watch. I'm excited for that. Obviously, us being Irish fans,
yes.
And we'll see how this season goes. A very tumultuous time in the world of college football. As I bring it down, get a little serious here for everybody. So excited for that. We're right around pumpkin spice coffee season, which I'm excited for.
Pumpkin spice beer. Yeah.
Everybody can call me a basic bitch if they want. I don't care. I love it. That's my jam. So excited for that. Cold weather's coming. Cold, breezy weather, leaves falling, cloudy skies, spooky season, Halloween. This is my time. This is my time of year. When you talk about from like end of August, around my birthday, which is also coming up. So you have like the end of August and the beginning of September to, I want to say, about February. That's my time to shine, man. That's my go. When you talk about when it starts being spring isn't bad. Yeah. But once you hit May, like between May and the beginning of September, fuck right off. I hate that stuff. Everybody talks about. I don't understand, and I never have. To go off on a tangent here for a second, I never understood the love that everybody has for summer. I never got it as a kid. As now, I never understood it. It is gross. It is hot. It is humid as shit. It is swamp ass season. It is, you have to take 3 showers a day, even if you're just sitting around doing nothing. And I understand I'm a bigger guy and I sweat more, and I'm just like, I sweat when I breathe. I understand that. But even skinny bitches, well, it's just a gross time of year. And then you add into the fact that people go on vacation and, we're all going to go to the beach, and you have all these ugly half naked people just sitting, sliding each other on the beach, covered in oil and sand and God knows whatever fluids they have, getting sunburnt, getting roasted, getting drunk, going into the ocean, making a big giant people soup. No, thank you, man. Like I don't get it. I've never gotten it. Give me some hoodies, give me some jeans. Let me wear my boots and my sneakers, and on a nice breezy, 48, 52 degree day, slight overcast, maybe a drizzle, a good football game in the air like that. That's it, man. When you get that smell, you can smell September. Yeah. And I think that's maybe what we're trying to project here. You and your disgusting Philadelphia Eagles jersey, me and my very fine and lovely Eli Manning New York Giants jersey and hat, by the way, not a visor like you, Chip Kelly. I'm excited. I think we're both here trying to project that feeling. Like, come on, let's go. Let's make it go.
Also, I mean, hockey. Just another preseason. I know it's preseason, but hockey's another month and a half.
Preseason starts early September.
Because I just got a text message from the Baby Pens that my pick sheet for the games will be coming in the mail, so I'm getting excited about that.
There you go.
And my oldest Andy, Doesn't know this yet, but he's going to be 16 in November. We're going to actually rent one of the suites at the arena and have his 16th birthday there for one of the games.
Nice.
Dude, you got, like, next time you're in, if it's hockey season, you got to go to a game with me and Andy. You'll be surprised how loud he gets. And when I say loud, I mean, like, how you get during the Giants games. He gets so into the Baby Pens games now, and even the Big Pens when we go to those games. But, from the quiet kid that you first met him to how he is now, totally different.
But that's good. But, well, first of all, that's what hockey will do to you.
Yeah.
And I'm always glad to hear that, that I've indoctrinated another one. And that's it. Here's the thing. When we first met, when me and you first became friends 10 years ago now, actually a little over to almost 11 years now.
This will be 11 years.
This coming up will be 11 years this year. You did not like hockey. You made fun of it. You made fun of people who liked it. It's a terrible sport. It's whatever. Say words that we can't say on here. And I say a lot of words on here, but we still can't say some of those words on here. So, like it took me a while, but I converted you into getting into the hockey. Unfortunately, and I should have seen it coming that you would have been a Flyers fan, but what are you going to do? But at least I got you into the sport and got you liking it and got you watching it. And now you've gotten your son into it. And so it's the great circle of life. It's the great circle of hockey. It's the great circle of sports. And that's what brings us together. And that's why we're here, because sports brings us together. It brings everybody together through friendly rivalries, through not so friendly rivalries, as we've seen in some places, especially Philadelphia. But also, I'm not going to just pick on Philadelphia. I mean, we've all seen the cases where, the Giants, the San Francisco Giant fans in Los Angeles got bricks to the dome, leaving a stadium, and, people have been assaulted in many other places. So I'm not going to just pick on Philadelphia, but Philadelphia is an easy target. I just want to say you guys wanted that reputation. You got it. I'm just saying.
I do got to clear up something, though, here. This has been going on for too long now. You are not the reason why I got into hockey. It was a Eagles game me and Shoulders was at, and my need to find different ways to piss you off is what got me into hockey, because I was standing outside the Xfinity Live Center and saw the bar Broad Street Bullies, and that is what made me go, maybe I'll give hockey a chance. And it was just another route that I could piss you off. So no, you didn't do it.
I do remember that, but also here's the thing. If it wasn't for you trying to piss me off, you would have never done it trying to piss me off, thus never would have gotten into hockey. So still, it's because of me that you got into hockey. You're very welcome. Go fuck yourself.
I will say there was a small part of me before, or no, I think 2014, I think is when the Flyers played the Rangers in the playoffs. And I really wasn't into hockey yet, but it was playoff hockey. And I was like, okay, maybe nothing else was on or something. It's the Flyers. And that game right there is what made me hate the Rangers as much as the Cowboys.
That's one of the few times that you'll ever see me root for the Flyers is when they're playing the Rangers. In fact, probably the only time you ever see me root for the Flyers is when they're playing the Rangers. But yeah, I can see that, and that's it. It's and see, there's a bond there. Now, see, again, I'm a Devils fan. You're a Flyers fan. We hate each other. Turnpike rivalry, much like the Giants and the Eagles. But there's that unifying hatred. In football for us, it is the Cowboys. We both hate the Cowboys. Although, to be fair, I think right now, as we see, probably the last 20 years or so, I've definitely hated the Eagles more than I've hated the Cowboys. And I think that's just because, the Cowboys, the Cowboys. But there will never come a time where I will ever choose to root for the Rangers above anybody. Okay. So there's a link there. As much as I hate the Flyers, as much as the Flyers hate the Devils, as much as we have our friendly banter, between the two. By the way, we still got to get a trophy for that rivalry. We have the belt for football. We got to get a trophy for the Devils and Flyers.
Yeah, my belt must have got lost in the mail or something. I still have not received it.
Oh no, it's still here. Do you know the postage that it takes to send that out? Man, that's a hefty piece of gold colored metal that I have to send out. You know. So. Listen, it's in good hands. It's in safekeeping. Don't worry. But like again, that's something that can bring people together in sports, and that goes back to my point. There is that this is what happens. Sports brings people together. You know, you getting into hockey just to mess with me because we're friends, and then it got you into it, and now you got so into it that you got your son into it, and now your son is so very into it. And in the future, he'll probably get somebody else into it because he's so into it. Yeah. So you know, that's the great thing about sports in general. So, and this is the time of year that we're waiting for it. Like there's not much going on right now. Baseball kind of sucks, you know.
That's only because the Yankees suck.
Well, the Yankees, even though the Yankees are good, like honestly. And I've said this before on here, and I'm sorry if people get upset by this, but I can only watch like maybe the opening day. I can watch opening day,
okay,
maybe. Sometimes maybe only the opening couple of innings, and then the playoffs if they come. And even then, now that they've expanded the goddamn playoffs, I don't even pay attention to that. I just burped right into the mic. I'm sorry, everybody. But. Like I'm sorry. Like it's too long. 162 games. Get the fuck out of here. And the pitch clock has helped. I'm not gonna lie. I think that's one of the better things that they've done, as far as speeding up pace of play, so that you're not there for 4 fucking hours watching a game as you fucking. It's like watching paint dry. At least it was. So it's gotten better. So like it's not a case of because the Yankees suck or because anything like that. The Yankees. Granted, they're a 500 team now. They're 60 and 60. They are the absolute definition of mediocre. So I'm not again never really a huge baseball guy. And listen, the Orioles are having a renaissance. Good for them. And of course, only they can fuck it up by suspending their fucking announcer for spitting facts. But. Like there was not much going on here. You had the Women's World Cup, which is, you know, America got knocked out early, so there's another. Well, then who gives a shit? Yeah, you know, it's like they had. There was on this morning one of the semifinals, and it's like, oh, it's England and Australia, and it's like, who gives a shit?
What about
nobody cares.
What about the Little League World Series? Do you pop in from time to time? Or what about the Little League World Series?
Little League, every now and then. Sometimes I get interested in, especially like if New Jersey or a local PA team. Yeah. Like if there's a team from New Jersey that's in it, or a team that's from like Eastern PA or from a place that I used to live or know, I absolutely will catch that every now and then. Because it's exciting still, and you see, you know, the pure love of the game and the kids and how much they enjoy it and like it, and that comes through. It does. But again, it's not appointment viewing. Like if I'm flipping the channels and I come across like ABC and it's on there, sure, I'll watch. Yeah. But it's not something where I'm like, oh, I gotta get to the TV, man. The Little League World Series is on. Like that's anybody who does that. First of all, probably check in on them. They probably have some fucking issues. I'm just gonna say, keep a close eye on them. Make sure they stay away from playgrounds and schoolyards. Just saying, I'm not saying anything.
Allegedly,
you know, I just like again, this is the time of year where there's not a ton going on.
Yeah.
So now we're getting to that season. Like I said, I think we're manifesting it here that we want to make sure that we get to September as fast. Listen, 22 days. We are at 22 days until opening night. Detroit Lions at Kansas City Chiefs. I'm excited. I got a question for you. Did you watch any of Hard Knocks this week?
Oh, I forgot about Hard Knocks. Yeah, I forgot to watch that. I did watch the Johnny Manziel documentary. I was curious if there was anything that I didn't hear in the news, but pretty much the whole documentary you've heard about, you know, over the years. I think the only thing I didn't hear through the news over the years was how the agent called Johnny Manziel's father up and said, dude, you got to basically fake a heart attack so he could come home from the combine, because I guess he was going to piss hot. And
I heard that in a couple of the reports and clips from the shows I watch.
Yeah, but I mean, other than
because I haven't seen it. I didn't watch the documentary, but again, I think I got enough from the like you said, like hearing the different shows like the morning show here on the WFAN here in the New York area and Pat McAfee and other things like that. I've heard enough of what happened, like the heart attack thing and I was going to kill myself, but the bullet didn't fire, and all that other kind of stuff. And listen, at the end of the day, it's sad, but not sad like you'd think. Like I think you would be thinking. I think it's sad because it was such a waste of talent that didn't need to be wasted. Like, it's not a case where he had circumstances beyond his control that took something away from him or that he had to overcome or do something like that.
Yeah.
He had a lot of problems. Every single one of them was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
And he wasted his talents, and and listen, at the end of the day, Johnny Manziel was a talented college quarterback. He had a lot of potential. He had a lot of ability. He had a lot of charisma. He had a lot of things that makes you a star and a top flight quarterback. But he caused the issues and he caused the problems that took that all away from him. That's nobody else.
Yeah.
That's all him. So that's a case where it's sad, but it's sad not in a way where I feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
It's a sad in that we got robbed from watching an amazingly talented individual because of their own stupidity.
Yeah.
And that's a shame. And that's the shame of it. But be that as it may, enough with Manziel. I did watch Hard Knocks last night. Episode 2 with the Jets. I got it. Listen, I was kind of on the Jets when the rumors of Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets started, and I was like, if they get the Jets, if they get Aaron Rodgers, the Jets are going to be like that. Instantly, to me, put them in like a top 4.
Okay.
Of Super Bowl contenders. It did. And then on top of all the other pieces they've gotten, with Lazard and now just recently Dalvin Cook, a very crowded running backs room. So I see, look at that how you will. Then they just activated Breece Hall off the PUP list. He's now PAP. He's physically able to perform before where he was physically unable to perform. So he went from PUP to PAP. So he's ready to go. And then just watching the Hard Knocks and watching the, how they interact, how they're doing, how Aaron is interacting with the team, how they all see, like, I'm sorry, man. Like I'm feeling the Jets. I am absolutely feeling the Jets this year.
Here's the only thing. I just don't. I can't fully get behind that. Okay.
And you know why? You know why I think that is? I'm going to interject you. I'm going to let you finish that thought. But you know why I think that is? Because it's the name. It's the Jets.
No.
And it's almost like thinking about because the Lions are another team that people are very high on.
Yeah.
I think the Lions can make a move this year, especially in as some would see, a bit of a weaker NFC. But you still have other people who can't buy into it, and I think it's because it's the Detroit Lions. You can't grasp onto that and be like, yeah, it's like Detroit, the Lions? No, and I think it's the same with the Jets. It's like people are like, hey, man, the Jets, they got a real chance this year. And it's like, yeah, the Jets? I don't know. I think that's a reason. I do. But continue with your thought.
It's not the Jets' name. It's actually Green Bay. Like, you're bringing all these players in that you had at Green Bay, that yes, you won 2 or 3 MVPs, but you didn't win no Super Bowls with Lazard and stuff. And now there's rumors that the Jets are talking about trading for the Green Bay Packers left tackle, who was obviously Aaron Rodgers' teammate. If you couldn't do it with these players in Green Bay, what makes you think you could do it with the Jets now?
Big difference. There's a big difference between what the New York Jets now and the last couple seasons there in Green Bay is, and even his 2 MVP seasons. And that big difference is the Jets have a fucking monster defense. And that was the huge problem in Green Bay for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Is Green Bay's defense was trash to like bad summertime trash, like baked trash. Like they were awful. In the one NFC Championship game against San Francisco, what was it? San Francisco, overall, they had like, on average, they were averaging like 14 yards before contact. They were gaining 14 yards before first contact.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? And then people had the gall to sit there and say, oh, it's the MVP's fault. Get the fuck out of here. No.
That's because he's the face of the franchise.
And that's what bothers me a lot with football, is that football, among any of the other sports, is 1,000% a team sport.
Yes.
Like when you talk about like basketball, 5 guys on the court, but if you have one superstar and one really good player, you can make a fucking run.
Yeah.
Same with hockey. If you got a fucking goal scorer and a goaltender that can keep some pucks out of the net, you got a shot.
Yeah.
With football, you're talking about that's 22 guys that you have on a field, and if one of them is not good, if one part of them is not good, if one guy isn't good, you can be fucked.
Oh yeah.
You could be absolutely screwed. Like how many good teams have we seen fail because they either didn't have a running game in the playoffs, or how they were able to make things work despite having a shorthanded position at quarterback, or and have the defense be like, look at the Baltimore Ravens defense in 2000. They were so good, they were able to make up for the fact that they had Trent Dilfer as a quarterback.
Yeah.
But like those are the rare instances. For the most part, you have to have a team that clicks on all cylinders. That's why Kansas City is always in the discussion, because they have a team there that clicks on all cylinders: offense, defense, special teams. Buffalo for the last couple of years, offense, defense, special teams, good. When I look at Green Bay those last 5 years or so, like offense was good, but it was good, I think, because of Aaron Rodgers. And that's the other thing too, is the Packers in Aaron Rodgers' time there, I think they never drafted an offensive player in the first round. They never drafted a wide receiver or a tight end or anybody like that.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they did draft defense and their defense still fucking sucked. And their special teams, on top of the defense being bad, the Packers special team was a fucking joke.
Yeah.
The Packers lost 5 games last year because of their special teams. And I'll put that out there. They lost 5 games because their special teams fucked up consistently.
Well, wasn't
either bad punting, bad coverage, mistakes, mental mistakes, fumbles on punt returns or kickoffs. Like they just were an atrocious special teams.
Yeah.
So to sit there and say, well, Aaron Rodgers, he couldn't do it in Green Bay. What makes you think he's going to do there? Because the Jets last year almost made the playoffs, and they had a wet bag of dog shit at quarterback. Now, I'm not talking about Mike White either.
Okay,
Mike
I was
White,
going to say, which one are we talking about here?
Yeah, Mike White's pretty cool. But they almost made the playoffs with fucking Zach Wilson as quarterback. They were, if they win that overtime game against Miami and something else happens, I think, or blah, 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 whatever, like the Jets could have been in the playoffs.
Yeah.
As better to look at that. So in my mind, from looking at it last year, the Jets were always a quarterback away. They were a quarterback away. And now they got a quarterback. And not only do they have a quarterback, but they have a quarterback that won 2 out of the last 3 MVPs, 2 in a row, in 2020 and 2021. I don't think he got that bad in a year. Like everybody's like, oh, look at him, he's falling off. He's so bad. I don't think that's the case. He was working with practice squad players last year.
Yeah.
And then as the season went on, he actually made them look Pro Bowl worthy. And I think that is on Aaron Rodgers. And if you watch Hard Knocks and you watch how this guy plays, and even if you didn't watch Hard Knocks, if you just watch him in training camp from years past, and you just like, listen, Aaron Rodgers may be the best thrower of our generation. Say what you want about him not having Super Bowls or anything like that. You can make that argument with Dan Marino back in the day too.
Yeah.
But at least Aaron has one. But the man can throw a ball on target right where he needs it to be. With the flick of a wrist, he can chuck it 60. The guy is a ridiculous talent. He still is a ridiculous talent. And then you look at the only spot where the Jets, I think, have a weakness is the offensive line. I think that's clearly obvious. And especially if you watch Hard Knocks last night, Robert Saleh got just dug right in on the offensive line. Yeah. So I think that's a worry going into the year. And that's it. We're at a point in the year now where you're not going to find too many good replacements for an offensive lineman to come in and kind of shore up that line.
Yeah.
So what the Jets have now is pretty much what they're going to have to work with, unless there's a surprise cut during cut downs here in the last 2 weeks. Who the Jets have or who the Jets got. So they're going to have to work on that, and hopefully not get Aaron Rodgers killed back there. But outside of that, I'm sorry, man. The Jets look good. The Jets look real good.
So are you saying they look so good that they'll win the division? They'll outplay the Bills?
Depends. I think it depends on do we get 2022 Josh Allen, or do we get 2020 2021 Josh Allen?
Yeah.
If we get Josh Allen when he had Daboll as his coordinator, I think the Bills are okay. I think the Bills are still in a good spot. I think the Jets will challenge them still.
Yeah.
But I would say I wouldn't be so gung ho on the Jets. If you have a Josh Allen that keeps on throwing, 15 picks in the red zone.
Yeah.
And fumbles the ball, and the Bills kind of let games get away from them last year, like the Vikings game that they lost, and a couple other games like that where they just kind of get in their own way. I think the Jets can take the division, absolutely. And then you also talk about the Dolphins have made moves.
Yeah.
Now, do the Dolphins can win a division? I'm not going to go out on that limb. But they're going to be a good team. The Dolphins are going to be good.
Yeah.
New England is always a danger. New England is always going to be, and they just signed Zeke, who you get within the 5 yard line. So you get inside the 10-yard line. Zeke is a touchdown machine. Yeah. He is, and he still is. The guy's only 27 years old. Everybody's acting like he's 38 and on his way out. Zeke's only 27 years old.
Yeah.
Wrap your fucking head around that. Ezekiel Elliott, who it feels like we've known him in the league for 20 years now.
Yeah.
He's only 27 years old. So, pump the brakes on, the Patriots got a washed up Zeke. I don't know about that. Let's calm that. Calm that down.
Look at LeGarrette Blount when LeGarrette Blount signed with Philly. That's basically what Zeke is going to be. He's just going to be that goal line back, and LeGarrette Blount, our Super Bowl run was key for us.
Blunt, not Blunt. I know you want to say Blount because he's got to own his name, but it's Blunt. Like smoking the weed, which he did a lot.
A lot.
I do too. Don't get me wrong. But it's LeGarrette Blount. And yeah, he did a good job. And then what? Didn't he go down to Tampa and win the Super Bowl down there with them too?
Yeah. I think the following year he went down there.
And so did Fournette. This is what the Jets team right now reminds me of. It reminds me of when Brady went to the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I could see that.
Where he went to the Buccaneers, and a lot of pieces came with them, Gronk went down there. Fournette came in. All of a sudden, everybody want to play Antonio Brown, even though he was an asshole, but he was so productive there. And and that one season he was down in Tampa, he kind of minded himself.
Yeah.
It's and then after the Super Bowl, he turned into an asshole again. But while he was there, he minded himself. And that Tampa Bay team, that reminds me a lot of this Jet team. And I know right now you look at Tampa Bay and people are like, yeah, but look at them now. And who gives a shit? They won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's the point. What are you going to do? Like, everybody looks at the Rams. Oh, the Rams don't have a draft pick until 2027, and they're trying to move pieces. Who gives a shit? They won a fucking Super Bowl. That's the point.
Yeah.
If the Jets, the Jets win a Super Bowl for the first time in 54 years, do you think any Jet fans gonna give a shit for the next 10 years?
Oh God, no.
If they go back to sucking donkey dick, absolutely not. They're gonna be, let's fucking go, let's get it, because that's all that matters. Win that Super Bowl, you get to hold that, and especially for a team like the Jets, who have gone so long with just being a punching bag. Let them, if that happens. You'll ask any Jet fan. They'll say, absolutely. It'll be absolutely worth it just to do that. And with Aaron Rodgers kind of restructuring his deal the way he did, and with him saying he wants to spend another 2 to maybe 3 years in New York, we'll see. Although I think he said if they win the Super Bowl this year, he's just going to fucking walk away.
Well, I mean, like, what else does he have to prove?
Listen, if your last career game is winning the New York Jets the fucking Super Bowl, walk the fuck off. They should waive the 5-year rule and just put him in a Hall of Fame right now. Like, this man won the New York Jets a fucking Super Bowl. Get him in. So I understand that.
As Terry Bradshaw's interviewing for the Super Bowl MVP, bring up the Hall of Famer announcer guy. Okay, Aaron Rodgers.
He's not there anymore. That's what I hate. That I love
really?
that. What was his name? Dave Baker.
Yeah,
I think it was Dave Baker. Yeah, he used to be the commissioner of the Arena Football League.
Oh, okay.
That dude is fucking giant. He's a big fucking, like, that dude is a mountain of a fucking.
He looks
man.
like a guy that if you piss him off and he gets his hands on you, just kiss your ass goodbye.
Like, he looks like football. Like, if you were to say, like, draw the personification of football, it was fucking Dave Baker. Yeah. Absolutely. But I think there was some kind of a thing, like, I think he was getting money or doing something with money, or there was some thing. So he ended up leaving the Hall of Fame, and now they just have other Hall of Famers go to people's houses and announce. Which is fine, which is great. But I thought that was cool because, like, people would go to it was almost like Publishers Clearinghouse seeing fucking Ed McMahon show up to your door. Like, they would see them, and you see grown men just burst into tears just by seeing David Baker there. And that was really cool.
Have the Green Bay GM come up to Aaron Rodgers and tell him he's in the Hall of Fame.
Gunter Kuntz. What a name, by the way. So I'll tell you what, man. I'm high on the Jets. The AFC is fucking tough, though, man. Like I said, it's not a given. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's guaranteeing. I'm not going to guarantee that the Jets are going to the Super Bowl or going to win the Super Bowl. But I think the Jets are getting to the playoffs, and I think they're going deep. I do. I think they're going deep in the playoffs. But when you got obviously the Chefs out there west. You got the Bills in your own division. You got the Chargers. You got the Bengals. You got the Steelers, who, especially with that defense, always look good. And Kenny Pickett, man, I think Kenny Pickett's a dog. I think Kenny Pickett's a guy. I do.
Carl Pickens is looking good in training camp too. Some of the catches I've seen of him, videos and stuff like that. Yeah,
you got Pickett to Pickens is going to be a hell of a connection.
Yeah.
And I think I called Kenny Pickens. I don't know, but it's a Pickett. There's too many picks on the Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers with Kenny Pickett and Pickens.
Brought to you by Picket Fence.
I think they're always a threat. Baltimore, as much as Baltimore doesn't scare me, they're always a threat. And listen, they have OBJ, whether he's past his prime or not. Whether I can't. Baltimore's a hard team to buy into, but they're always dangerous, and they're always there to win a couple games. They reminded me a lot of the Dolphins. Maybe not great, but they're there to win a couple games. You got the Chargers with Herbert. As long as Staley can get out of the fucking way, the Chargers are dangerous.
Yeah.
The Raiders can always be something. Can Sean Payton turn around the Broncos? Those are more questionable things. But then you look at the Titans, they get D-Hop in there. Can the Titans make a rebound from last year? The Jaguars, all of a sudden, like, all right, is Trevor Lawrence going to make the next step? Like, there's a lot there, man. So the AFC is pretty stacked. The NFC, Eagles and 49ers.
I was going to say, meh. You got
it's Eagles and 49ers,
3
and then it's everybody else, I think.
Yeah.
Of course, you'll have Cowboys. What about them boys? Them boys are good. No, them boys ain't there. I'm sorry. And especially with Dak as your quarterback, you're not there.
Yeah.
They might be good. They might win in, double-digit games. The Cowboys are usually good for that. But then again, they might not. Who knows? Can the Giants make another step? They got a tough schedule this year, so I don't know. I'm hopeful, but am I going to sit there and put the Giants at an elite level right now? No, not even close. I love the Giants, but again, you have to show me.
You brought up about the Giants having a tough schedule. How much do you actually put into that, before the season starts? I mean, it's based off of last season's records.
I think you look at it, you try to gauge it as best you can. You use a lot from last year, but also that you look at what certain teams have done or made moves in the offseason, or who looks good now. And again, that'll always change. By week 6, week 7, it's always like you have a better idea, a better vision of who's doing what. Like, again, the Giants looked like they were, everybody's a pushover last year, and they went 7-1, 7-2 in their first 8-9 games. So there's always going to be that where you think there's a team that is, that's going to be tough, that's going to be a good game, and then it turns out like that team just absolutely sucks. Or a team is surprised, like Seattle last year.
Yeah,
that's another one where everybody thought they were going to be historically bad, and they ended up making the playoffs and being good. So, but I think like with anything, you gauge it as best you can. You look at what they did last year. Our team's better. Like, you look at like the Saints. Now they got Derek Carr. They look good in training camp. There's a lot of good buzz coming out of New Orleans. Are they again, are they an elite team? No, I don't think anybody from the South is, but you're hearing good stuff out of there. Yeah. So that's a team where it's like, oh, well, maybe we can get, we can blow by New Orleans and stuff like that. Maybe not. Maybe they're a surprise team. I think the NFC North is stronger than a lot of people think. I think people think the Lions are going to run away with that division because they don't think anybody else in there is good. I think the Vikings are good. The Vikings are that team that's good. They remind me a lot of the Ravens.
Okay.
Vikings do. Where people think they're good, but they're iffy good. It's like they're good, but I don't think they're as good as their record shows.
Yeah.
But they're always like that. And I'm going to tell you what we're seeing and hearing out of Green Bay about good old Jordan Love there. I think Green Bay can actually make some noise and not be as terrible as we all think they're going to be.
Yeah.
So I think the NFC North is something else. But overall, you compare the NFC to the AFC, it's not even close.
Yeah.
I think the only teams in the NFC that can compare to the AFC right now as we speak, again, this might be different in week 7, week 8. But I think right now the only teams that you can look at that compare to the AFC are the Eagles and the 49ers. And that's how I'm going to go into the season looking at it. And again, when it comes to the Giants schedule and stuff like that, I think the Giants, and especially the Giants' first 4 or 5 games, on paper, looks like a little bit of a murderer's row. So I think we're going to find out quickly how the Giants are in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the year. So we'll see. But I'm excited, man. We're getting closer. We are getting closer.
So sticking with the NFC East here, and we've talked about this in the off season. The Washington Commanders. Now there's obviously a petition, change.org or whatever they're doing, over 900,000 signatures that want to bring the Redskins name back. And now there's also an American Indian group that is actually pushing for the Redskins name to come back too. Do you think it gets done now, since that there's a little bit of a support for that name now?
No. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. I think that is the proper name for that team. I think it might. It should be, but no. The sponsors won't do it. The NFL will not do it. There will be social pressure. There will be politicians that move against it. There will be protests again. And it's a can of worms that the NFL. It's a headache the NFL doesn't want.
Yeah.
It's a headache the NFL doesn't want. And as much as I think that's the proper name for the club, and especially the logo and the uniforms. God, I missed those. Those were beautiful. Yeah. And again, designed by a Native American. Just want to put that out there. And I believe the group is the Native American Groups for Change, or Native American Groups for Action. I think it is. And they have it out there, and that's the other thing too. And that's the point that I had brought up to a couple of people. Back before the name change, when there were still some protests going on, is that a lot of people arguing for the name change were whiter than you and me.
Yeah,
like they were white people that were like, the name had to change. Many, if you looked at a lot of the polls and a lot of people, that came from Native Americans from either reservations or just Native Americans that are around. A lot of people asked specifically about, what were Native American opinions on the Redskin name. A lot of those polls ended up being either in favor of or indifferent to the name. Like they were like, it's either no skin off my ass, or I'm fine with it. I like it. It's their name. It is whatever. And again, it was always a smaller percentage. It was always in the polls was always a smaller percentage of don't like it. It's terrible. It's racist. And I think that the cause was taken up by the SJW movement. And then when 2020 happened and there was the huge social justice movements and there were riots and there were all that kind of thing, that it became easy to jump on that, especially when you had a bad owner like Dan Snyder, who nobody liked and everybody saw as kind of an asshole and, as kind of racist anyway. So nobody liked Dan Snyder either. So it became easy to just kind of be like, well, I'll change the name and do that because you're terrible. That's the other thing too. I think if Dan Snyder wasn't the owner of Washington at that time, I don't know if the name gets changed. I don't. But be that as it may, I think we're here now. I know that the current ownership group is heavily discussing and talking about changing the name from Commanders to kind of get that last bit of stink of Dan Snyder off the club, which I'm happy about. And again, I think anybody who is a fan of football, and for somebody like me who's a fan of logos and uniforms, would love to see the Washington Redskins come back. I don't think, though, that that's possible right now, simply because of the climate and the amount of stink that a very small amount of angry white people will make, because they feel that it is their duty to be offended for people who they see as, well, they don't understand why they're not offended. So we'll be offended for them, and we'll make sure that this changes, and we're doing good for them. And like it's just another of those things where it seems like there's a bunch of white people trying to take agency away from a minority group. And you can see an argument that way. And listen, I understand that there's an argument to be made against it being a racial name or a racist name or something that causes offense to people. And some Native Americans absolutely have made it known that they personally find it offensive. But the vast majority, again, if you look at any of the polls, if you look at, stuff, and it's out there, you can find it.
Yeah.
You can see that there's a vast majority of the Native Americans that either don't find it offensive or don't care about it, don't have an opinion one way or another. It's always that. So when it outweighs it so much with the group that is being talked about or that would be affected by this, I think things moved too quickly in 2020 when they made them change it. And I think in hindsight, I think there should have been more time taken with it. But at the end of the day, I think you can't put that bullet back in the chamber.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing we know about the NFL and with Roger Goodell and everybody, and the owners, and it's the owners thing too, don't rock the boat. Don't make noise. Don't cause problems where there's no problems.
Yeah.
And as much as we would like to sit here and say, the nickname for the Washington football team should be Redskins or something like that, by doing that or reinstating the name and reinstating the logo, again, designed by a Native American, that will open up problems where you'll have angry white people protesting outside again and writing angry tweets or X posts or whatever the fuck we're calling it now, and making making big headaches for the NFL, and they don't want that.
Yeah.
And so, again, I'd like to see Red Wolves. If we have to compromise, I like Red Wolves. I always have. If that was the way we were going to go with it, I mean, you can do hail to the Red Wolves, pack on the warpath. Yeah, you get a first down. You go, that stuff works. I think it works. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different things you get there. Yeah. And hey, you can get the next generation in. You get Gen Z coming in, especially those girls that like wearing the butt plugs and tails coming out. You get the girls with the foxtail butt plugs coming to the games. Like, then. You can have like a wolf tail butt plug giveaway. First 10,000 fans, get yourself a wolf tail butt plug. Like that, it can work. Like I'm saying, there's ways. You know what I mean? So it doesn't seem as bad.
Mommy, like what's that lucky tail?
I'm so stupid. But like I always like that, and I like it because of that. Yeah. And like I said, that's you have the guy you call the fan the Wolf Pack. Woo, first down, Washington. Woo, and you can easily rework the song for Hail to the Red Wolves.
Yeah.
Hail Victory. Well, Wolf Pack on the warpath or something. Like you could just give that, or hunting with the wolf pack, or however you want to do it. Like there's ways you could do it. And I think it's an easier transition. You can keep the color palette, I even come up with a couple of suggestions myself and concepts for the Red Wolves. Like it can be done.
Yeah.
And I think if you're gonna do it, that's the way you do it. That's how the way it should have been done in the first place. But again, Dan Snyder's done my shit. Thank God he's gone. And the best thing that why am I blanking on the new owner's name? He owns the Devils. I can't remember his
last name's Harris.
That's it, Josh Harris. Thank you.
Yeah. And kudos to him. He sat again. I know it's just preseason, but he sat with the fans. He wasn't up in his suite for the preseason game.
No, and he's doing all the right things, but also back to the original conversation we had in his opening remarks. Right after he bought the team at the owners' meetings, he talked about the wonderful and glorious history of the Redskins, and said the Redskins.
Oh boy!
So, I mean, right there tells you something.
Yeah.
if that's the way we're going to go with it. So I'm very interested to see where this goes. Again, now seeing that there's a petition from Native Americans and Native American groups that want to have, and the reason apparently they gave was that it, by removing the name, it removes Native American, the conversation about Native Americans. And they feel like it's another erasure of Native Americans and Native American culture from the American landscape and from the American talking points, and takes it out of view of the average American, to where it's another part of just like a whitewashing, so to speak, of Native Americans. So and from that aspect, I can understand that too. You know, is the one thing that I don't think people thought of when they started, and this started back 20 years ago with colleges doing, like when St. John's went from the Red Men to the Red Storm, and like a lot of colleges started changing their Native American imagery. I don't think what they thought of at the time was, and it's a very good point, is the erasure of, again, it's another erasure of Native Americans, of Native American imagery, of the idea that Native Americans were here. They were so worried about it being offensive to Native Americans, or we are not a mascot. And it's like, well, everybody's a mascot. Vikings are a mascot. The Irish are a mascot. Tall people are a mascot. I'm a giant. Here we go. 49ers, some old guy digging for gold. He's a mascot.
Yeah.
Pirates, Raiders, Buccaneer, all these things. Patriot. A patriot is a mascot. It's just like he's a patriot.
Yeah.
So, this idea that, well, we are not your mascot. Well, everything can be a mascot. That in and of itself isn't offensive. Like, I understand, like, if you were a team, like, and there were some colleges called, like, the Savages. Yeah. And they had, like, a Native. At that point, I'm like, okay, you could probably change the name. Maybe change it to something else, like talk to some tribes. Actually have a tribe name. Actually do things like that. But like when you have like North Dakota Fighting Sioux, they were, they had a great logo, wasn't offensive. They were, it was something really nice. It really was. And then you had all the Sioux tribes agreed that they could use the name, except I believe it was one chief said no.
Okay.
And because the one chief said no, they got rid of it and said, nope, we can't use it. And now they're the fucking Soaring Eagles or some dumb shit. And it's like, you get rid of that. Like, why? The same thing with now Illinois, the Fighting Illini. Like, the Illini are an Indian tribe.
Okay.
Or Native American tribe. Sorry, I can't say Indian. That's terrible. But they're a Native American tribe. And they had a fantastic logo with Chief Illiniwek, which is, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's a big roundel, has the big head. I mean, it's a beautiful logo. Wonderful representation. I would love to see it on a hockey sweater. It's beautiful. But again, that was a case where I think it was the Illiniwek tribe said yes, but the chief himself said no, because he didn't feel like they were going to get enough money from a marketing deal or something.
Okay.
So then they got rid of anything related to Native American imagery, and now they're just like a big giant block eye. And so they still use the name Illini,
just not the logo.
of course, Illinois is named after, but they took away any of the Native American imagery, which is, again, unfortunate. And then you look at like the Florida State Seminoles, and the Seminole tribe came out and said, no, absolutely, you can use it. Because they said it still puts the name out there. It puts Seminole out there. It has the conversation. People know who the Seminole tribe is a lot because of who the Florida State Seminoles are.
Yeah.
So like, and I think that's the argument being made right now by this group for the Washington Redskins, is like, don't continue to erase the conversation and the Native American image from the American consciousness.
Yeah.
Like we've already been erased enough. Let us be represented somehow, some way, even if there's some, college hippie who thinks that this is inappropriate and that we should be offended, and he's going to be offended on our behalf, that's fine. Be offended on behalf all you want, but let the conversation be. So I think and here's the thing, I think there is a conversation to be had both ways. And I'm not just going to straight up dismiss the people who feel strongly that it is a inappropriate name or a racist name. I have been, and I'm willing to have that conversation with people.
Yeah.
I just don't like it when people refuse to have the conversation with me or with even other Native Americans. I say other Native Americans like I'm one. I'm not. But like people who won't have that conversation and just shut up. Nope, it's racist. It's evil. It's bad. That's it. End of story. I can't talk about it. And if you think of any other way, then you're a racist and you're a bigot and you're awful and that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case. I think there is a case to be made on both sides. I think there's a decent debate and argument to be had. And we'll see. We'll see. Do I think it personally is going to go anywhere? No. But I don't think we're going to have the Commanders in 5 years. I'll say that.
I say within the next 2 years, you'll have a different name.
Whether we have Redskins or not is very much up for debate. I don't think we will. But within the next 5 years, whether 3 to 5,
yeah,
in 3 to 5 years, the Commanders will be gone. Thank God. And hopefully we get the Red Wolves. And if by some miracle we get the Redskins back, who knows? But again, I think that's an interesting conversation for people to have. Yeah. And see, and to have it without spewing hatred or being angry or just straight up just refusing to listen to anybody on either one side or the other. Because listen, and there's plenty of people on the side of the Redskin name who do the same thing. Yeah, you're just a granola eating SJW, so go fuck yourself. And I think this ain't offensive at all. Like, all right, Cletus, calm down. There is, again, I think there's a point to be made on both sides. I think there is. And I think that's a conversation that needs to happen and that people should have. But we're just in a space right now in this country where having logical, reasoned debate is not in style. Yeah. It's who's loud, who's the angriest. I mean, look at some of these other sports shows that we watch. First Take and Undisputed and whatever the one with fucking Skip Bayless is. Yeah. People want to hear loud and bombastic and you're wrong, I'm right. And whether it's sports, whether it's politics, whether it's, the fucking weather. That's unfortunately, I think, where we are in this country. So we'll see. But if it was up to me, kind of knowing, reading the tea leaves, reading where the wind blows, as it were, I'm all on Red Wolves. Let's go.
I'd be okay with the Red Wolves. I
like it.
Yeah,
I do. I've always liked it. Back when they were first talking about changing it, I thought it was good.
Would you make the Wolf logo for the Red Wolves look like the Minnesota Wild, their jerseys? I saw you post about that.
Well, first of all, the Minnesota Wild logo is a bear, not a wolf. And
that was the team that you shared out, right? Minnesota Wild?
The hockey jersey, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was a wolf.
No, that's a bear. The moon makes the bear's ear, and it has the shorter face, and yeah, it's a bear. And it has the Minnesota Wild behind it with all the trees and the river, and
I guess I probably pissed off some Minnesotians now.
Minnesotites?
Is that what
I don't know?
Minnesotites? Minnesotians?
Minnesotians? Minnesotans. I think it might be Minnesotans. Huh. This is where we are. This is where we're on the show.
And if you're still with us at this far in, congratulations.
Hey, you made it. We should have like an end of show club. If you made it to the end of the show, like comment, this particular code or something. And it was yeah. Like, well, we know you stuck with us. We'll know you stuck with us. But I, again, with some of my concepts for like the Red Wolves would be or something like that, I kind of leaned heavy on what the Redskins logo was and just kind of tried to feed into that
Okay.
a little bit. I like the idea of going back to the darker shade of burgundy,
Yeah.
and to that old gold, that metallic kind of gold that they had way back, back when they had the spear helmet, which by the way is one of the best looks they've ever had.
Yeah.
Love the spear helmet. I think those are. I think I love those colors, and would love to see them kind of go back towards that. But either way, I think there's a lot with the brand that you can do when it's Red Wolves. Commanders was always a dumb choice by my mind.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's a Dan Snyder thing. And now that he's gone, hopefully they fix that up.
The only thing I hope that the Washington front office use so that way they get this next name right, they need to take some W to make sure they're focused on the name.
Well, here's the thing, and I think that was the problem in the original one, especially. Well, first of all, I think we know Dan Snyder, he never touched W, and that was a fucking problem because that definitely needed some. But when they had focus groups trying to come up with these names, obviously they weren't focused because they didn't have W in the room. If you had W in the room, they'd be able to focus. They'd have the energy to look through all these great names that they could have chosen, and they wouldn't have had the jitters or a crash afterwards. So they would have been like, oh my God, just pick Commanders and it'll be fine. Like, I think that's probably what happened, you know? So if they had that, and here's the other thing too, Dubby has neurofactor. So they would have made better and smarter decisions because Dubby would have helped their brains actually be better and get smarter. Like that's great. Not only does it make you feel better and have more energy and focus, but it actually gives you the neurofactor. Actually, it's like a jump start for your brain. I think they would have made a lot better naming decisions if they had Dubby there in the Washington football team war room there as it was. But here's the other thing. And now here's it. You know, we know that Josh Harris just bought the team for what, $7 billion?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And NFL teams are only going up. So that means that he's got the money, if he wants to go to w.gg and look at all of the products they have there. He can buy all the products if he wanted to. I think he could probably buy W if he wanted to. But he could probably just go there and buy everything. But you can go there and check out all of the items and merchandise that they have there at w.gg. You can find all the flavors that they have there. They even have the little sample packs there that you can go ahead and get so you can try a little, find your favorite before you buy a nice big tub of it. So you always have W on hand. And the thing that Josh Harris can do, even with his billions of dollars, and you can do as well, is on checkout in the promo code box, if you put ST Sports 18, and that's all capital letters, ST Sports 18, you're going to get 10% off of your order. Whether you're a billionaire or whether you're just a guy like us, you get that same 10% off of any order at w.gg when you put in the code ST Sports 18. W, be better.
And with that 10%, if you save it, maybe in about 50 years you could buy an NFL team.
Maybe. Hey, listen, if you start saving now with that 10%, you know, it never hurts to start saving now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, because the prices are only going up. I think they said the Cowboys are like $9 billion now, which would make sense. If Washington is going to be $7 billion, then every other NFL team should be at least above that. You know,
and I think we are two of the least most financial people to have listened to. Don't listen to us. You know, financial advice we give, not very good.
Listen, just because I'm broke and poor and have no money and I'm working on really shitty internet and equipment, doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to finances. Once I win the lottery, I'm going to know what to do with all my finances. Buy all the lottery tickets you can, folks. You can't lose. Oh boy.
What a way to end the show with sound financial advice. Buy as many lottery tickets as you can.
Can't go wrong. You can't go wrong. This was an interesting one. I'm actually looking at the video feed here. It's wonky, but it's a start.
Hey,
start, and it can only go up from here.
We're still in training camp here. We're still working out the kinks.
Yeah, we're getting kinky here, so we'll get it down. Once we get the kink shame done, we'll get it done. Wait, what? Does that mean something different? I don't know.
So,
I don't know. We were talking about butt plugs.
Well,
so
I was gonna say we probably should end this show now because this might be the last video show we'll ever have.
probably be a good idea.
So
probably be a good.
Till next week, this is your good friend Jimbo,
and it's your boy King.
We're out.
Butt plugs.